Hey friends, this is Megan from Star Spangled Acre, and this is week 1 of the Pantry Challenge hosted by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. The point of the Pantry Challenge is not only to save money, but to also plan for the next garden season by using up what you have preserved all through the year and see what maybe you have used and haven't used and get a better idea of what you need to grow for the new season. And also to use up those food stores and maybe some things that got pushed to the back of the pantry that aren't your favorite. Now is the time to clear out the pantry and use it up. So our rules for the Pantry Challenge, we're not as strict as some people, but our rules are that we're obviously going to use up as much as we can, buy as little. We already don't buy much from the store. We grow a lot of our own produce. We buy our meat in bulk, we hunt, fish. There's very few things we buy from the store. But we are still going to allow ourselves to buy some dairy products such as cheese and cottage cheese from the grocery store. I will still be buying my baking products for my home baking business. My husband will still be purchasing some snacks and lunch items if he needs to because he works outside of the home, so he's not 100% part of the Pantry Challenge. And we will still be getting our fresh raw milk every week. So I think other than that, it'll be our pantry stores. But if something changes, I will let you know. It's Thursday, January 1st, day 1 of the Pantry Challenge, and it is another cold day on the homestead. Everyone's team working, well, everyone except me is team working the firewood at the moment, and I'm about to get breakfast going. For breakfast this morning, we are having some homestead fresh eggs, which I turned into a sourdough tortilla quiche. In the quiche, I put some turmeric, salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder because I am not a fan of chopping up onions and garlic first thing in the morning. And we topped it with some saffron. So there is a higher protein breakfast, the way we like to start our day. Slice of quiche, some cottage cheese, and some kimchi. And of course, coffee made with our raw half and half and honey. We also like to start our day with a tablespoon of my homemade elderberry syrup. Lunch options around here are pretty simple. We usually have some fruit or a homemade snack that I pre-made or some leftovers. So today it was apple slices with my homemade peanut butter, some orange slices. Some people had some leftover stew. Yep. Lunches are pretty independent over here. For dinner tonight, I'm going to be pan frying up some walleye, and we're going to have some broccoli and rice on the side. Hello friends! It is Friday, day 2 of the Pantry Challenge, and for breakfast today, or I should say brunch, we are going to be making some sourdough breakfast pizzas with these little sourdough pizza crust that I made and put in the freezer for the kiddos. I'm going to start out by scrambling up some of our fresh homestead eggs, and you already know how I do my eggs. It's always with turmeric and black pepper, salt, onion, and garlic powder, and you got to add some of that saffron. Oh, and some half and half in there too. Alright, I have my cast iron pan buttered and heated up. We're going to go ahead and get these eggs frying. And while the eggs are cooking, I'm going to get some white sauce gravy going for our breakfast pizzas. I'm going to start by putting 2 tablespoons of butter in here to melt. Alright, now that our butter is melted, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. Whisk that together. And we're going to add in 1.25 cups of milk. Mix that together. Now the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of shredded cheese. You could use Parmesan or a cheddar cheese it calls for. I just have this little bit of sharp white cheddar left over. I'm just going to shred that up and throw it in. And sprinkle the cheese in. To our white sauce, I added some salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder just to taste. Alright, I already put some cottage cheese on each of our little sourdough crust. And now I'm going to spoon some of our breakfast gravy on there. Time to sprinkle some mozzarella cheese on top of these. And some leftover bacon bits. Next, we're going to sprinkle some saffron on each one. And then we're going to top each one with some cut up scrambled eggs. And now I'm going to add, just to mine, I'm going to add some of our home canned sweet pickled peppers from our homegrown peppers. And into the oven this first batch goes. And there's the finished product. We have our sourdough breakfast pizza, some scrambled eggs topped with kimchi, and I actually just used up the last of the kimchi, so this is my pantry challenge reminder that I need to start making some of my own. And of course, coffee on the side, fresh ground organic coffee beans with half and half, and honey. We already had our lemon water in the morning and our elderberry syrup. And every morning I like to take a honey fermented garlic clove. The kids aren't too fond of that one. They only do that if they get sick. And we took our supplements, beef organ supplements and vitamin D3. Starting the day off good. For dinner tonight, I have Tuscan stewed beans on the menu. So here's what we're going to be working with tonight. Bunch of homegrown herbs. I'm officially out of celery, so we're going to be using my homegrown celery salt. And I'm currently out of my homemade chicken bone broth. I do have whole chicken still in the freezer, so I'm going to be making more bone broth, but for the time being, we're going to be finishing off the store-bought chicken broth. Yeah, so let's get this put together. We are starting off this meal by sauteing half an onion. This onion we got from the organic farm around Thanksgiving time because our onions didn't do so well this year. They got taken over by weeds when I was in the hospital, so bought a big jumbo bag from the organic farm that should get us through. And I'm also going to add in some chopped homegrown carrots. Let those saute for a bit. And then we'll be adding in our homestead grown red German garlic. In goes the 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to be putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, a teaspoon of our homestead grown parsley, half a teaspoon of our homestead grown sage, and 1/8 cup of our homestead basil. The recipe calls for 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to add half of that right now. Next goes in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I transferred this over to a stainless steel pot. Now I'm going to add in some crushed tomatoes. In goes the rest of the chicken broth. And 1 15-ounce can of strained and rinsed cannellini beans. And I'm going to add some celery salt and black pepper to taste. Next up, we got to get these baked potatoes going. So I've got some potatoes from the organic farm. We had to get a couple big bags from them around Thanksgiving time because we didn't grow nearly enough. Our potatoes did great. It's just our family eats potatoes over any other starch. Potatoes are a main one over rice or pasta or even bread things, which is ironic because I'm a baker. So yeah, we need to plan to grow a lot more next year. But yeah, I'm just going to coat these potatoes in some olive oil, salt, stab them, and get them baking. Morning. It is Saturday, day 3 of the Pantry Challenge, and I'm only going to be showing you breakfast this morning because I usually give myself Saturdays off, give myself a day of rest, and this is also the day that we allow the kids to have a bowl of cereal and sit and watch some Saturday morning cartoons. So that's what the kids are having today, having some cereal with some raw milk. But this is actually the last box of cereal. We don't stockpile this item. We get this every week or two, let them pick out some fun flavors. But this is the last of it, so moving forward in the Pantry Challenge, their Saturday mornings will be with oatmeal or homemade granola. Dinners on Saturdays usually consist of leftovers, freezer items that I've prepared ahead and frozen, or home canned meals. And that is it for week 1 of the Pantry Challenge. Hope you all have a blessed day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.